Hello, YouTube. I'd like to address a phenomenon in multi-level marketing MLM that I refer to as the victim-perpetrator duality. That is, that participants in MLMs are, in some sense, simultaneously victims of these so-called business opportunities and also perpetrators of fraud. Now, what do I mean by victim-perpetrator duality? I want to stress that two things are possible to be true at once. Just like in the quantum world, and by this I mean very small objects. Quantum objects can have qualities of particles and waves at the same time. Somebody who is involved in an MLM can possess the qualities of a victim and of a perpetrator at the same time and not necessarily be conscious of either of them. So the question is there a switch at which time one becomes 100% perpetrator from becoming 100% victim, or is it really more of a like a smooth transition, or maybe there really isn't any distinction at all? Maybe it really is a duality. I want to offer up two examples that might explain how a transition can come. Now, no analogy is perfect, and these analogies are not perfect, but I was impressed with these two examples. One is a Netflix series out of Brazil called Seven Prisoners, which asks a question. And in literature, especially in movies, which I consume a lot of, I prefer movies and documentaries that ask questions. And the question that is asked by this is a drama, it's not a true story. The question that is asked by Seven Prisoners is, how does an ordinary good kid become a human trafficker? Because this is exactly what happens in here. I mean, you might say, look, I'm a good person. There's no way that I could ever do that in my life. And Seven Prisoners ask the question, oh yeah? Let me show you one example of how this might happen. Here's another example. This is also a Netflix series called Inside Man. Really wonderful with Stanley Tucci, who's on the left. And the premise of Inside Man is that anyone can be a murderer. All it takes is the right circumstances and a bad day. Here's another example, a famous example. He himself is not a victim/perpetrator, but Jeffrey Epstein, who is a dead serial rapist, pedophile, and human trafficker, was able to set up a network, almost an MLM of sorts, in which the young women, many of them children, who were the victims of his advances, were incentivized to recruit more victims, which implicated them in crime, although many of them were not meaning to do this. In fact, some of them were desperately trying to avoid being involved in this kind of activity, but nevertheless ended up there. So what I mean by these examples is that you don't have to be stupid or evil or greedy to get involved in an MLM. None of these things. You just have to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. For example, you're at a period in your life where temporarily you are vulnerable or lonely or broke or some combination of the above. And folks, this is why MLMs, quote unquote, work. They are organizations that are full of individuals who, in some sense, are incentivized to become perpetrators while being victims simultaneously. And then the organization itself is able to hide behind this wall of victim perpetrators. So folks, my message to you is that your skills, knowledge, and experience are way too valuable to get involved in an MLM. That's all I've got. I will see you in the next episode.